はもう死んでいる。何？
Hey, John Rowe.
The topic of the
We do a
podcast
podcast.
together,
We
and
should do a
I'm
podcast.
excited.
お前はもう死んでいる。何？
Oi, John. Hey, John Rowe. We should do a podcast.
The topic of the podcast together, and honestly, I'm excited.
G'day, dorks, and welcome into Lords of Dorktown, a podcast all about anime, cartoons, and video games. My name's Philip, and the dork joining me tonight is the tarnished champion himself. It's Jay Rowe, friend of the show.
Hey man, how you doing?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Very good. I'm feeling very tarnished.
Oh, man, I'm feeling so tarnished. Before we get into all of the Elden Ring talk that we're going to get into, I've got a bit of a question for you.
Yes, hit me.
If you were born into one of the four nations in Avatar: The Last Airbender, what nation would you want to be born in?
I feel like I identify with global domination. So I love the Fire Nation, but I don't love what they ended up doing. I love them around Roku.
You can. I was about to say you can decide what area you get born into. You could be born, post Fire Lord Zuko, and be born in like the weird Republican Fire Nation.
Yeah, some real weird stuff though goes on after that. Yeah. So, I'd say Fire Nation, but even before Roku, that would have been dope.
Fair enough. Yeah, I've always identified as a bit of an Earth boy myself. I feel like it'd be earthbending for sure, right?
I don't know. I feel like you'd be a swamp boy.
Oh, fuck you. I could be a swamp boy. I asked this question because I had a bit of a debate the other day with someone at work because they were like, oh, if I was going to be anything, I'd definitely be an airbender. I was like, no, you wouldn't be. She's like, why? Why wouldn't I be an airbender? I was like, airbenders were nomads. They were literally monks. You were the most stressed, high-strung human being I've ever met.
Attached to possessions,
Yeah. Being an airbender is all about,
I suppose they have to. The avatar has to be attached to a couple of possessions to be found. So.
Yeah, it's true.
But
anyway,
very monkey.
That's
they
enough.
Are very monkey.
They are very monkey. Enough talk about Avatar: The Last Airbender. Well, you are here today to talk about Elden Ring. Now, in full disclosure, we were originally going to do this episode. You were going to talk about Elden Ring. I was going to talk about Horizon Forbidden West. Yep. And, because I wasn't going to buy Elden Ring.
Yep.
I wasn't going to do it. I was having a bit of fun playing for Horizon Forbidden West. It's a cool open world game. You get to fight dinosaurs. It's really pretty. It's quite fun. It's an interesting narrative. And you were playing Elden Ring, and I had heard all these things, and I was like, yeah, look, From Software games are not for me. I've never played a Dark Souls. I've never played a Demon Soul. Sekiro was kind of interesting to me, but then I heard how difficult it was.
But it was so difficult. Oh my god.
Yeah. And, I've downloaded Bloodborne on my PlayStation, but I haven't played it yet. My original plan was to play Bloodborne and then go into Elden Ring, if I enjoyed Bloodborne. But that all changed on Friday, when I just happened to be in the store at the same time. Someone had wrongly marked the Elden Ring game as $70 instead of the $100 it's listed as.
What a score.
By pure happenstance, I was like, well, if it's... it felt like a sign. I was like, man, I'm never going to get it this cheap. I might as well get it. It's got 10 out of 10s from every fucking gaming site. I should probably get it. And... oh, boy.
Oh, man.
Oh,
it
boy.
was all by the design of the greater will that you, filthy tarnished, graced the lands between.
Oh, mate. Not only did I grace land betweens, I fucking came all over the lands between. I fucking love this game, my friend. But you should... What's your history with the From Software games?
Well, my very first experience... So, I had a weird fascination and loved watching some of the popular streamers when I loved watching their YouTube clips of them playing From Software games. So I kind of started noticing it around then. Would have been about 5 years ago, maybe. But I never bought one, and it wasn't until I got the PlayStation 5 when we had access to all the free games that were classics, and Bloodborne's one of those, that I actually downloaded and installed Bloodborne, and that was only, oh wow, that would have been maybe 2 years ago when I did Bloodborne, or maybe a year ago. So that was my first experience Bloodborne, and honestly, for anyone out there that can't spend money on Elden Ring right now, has a PlayStation 5, you've got Bloodborne there. It's completely free. I believe you need a PS.
I don't think you need the PS Plus. I think it's the PlayStation Collection. I think is available to anyone who owns a PS5, regardless of the PlayStation Plus.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm talking like it's easy to get a PS5, but if you've got one, if you can afford a PS5, you can probably afford Elden Ring. So what am I even talking about?
Yeah, that's true.
Bloodborne's a great one. The first one, definitely.
I'm sure you could pick it up for hella cheap in a discount bin.
Oh,
for like
yeah.
a PlayStation 4 or something like that.
You can even get the collection, which is worth it as well. Bloodborne is one of the one of the more forgiving From Software titles. It's even been it's been called one of the easiest, minus maybe Dark Souls 2, I think it was. But it's forgiving because you have a mechanic in the game where if you attack after getting hit, it'll actually regenerate a bit of health. Saves you very...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it rewards you for being aggressive, which is actually a little bit different to the other From Software games where it's all about picking your moments. For anyone listening and interested, download Bloodborne. You'll play it through and you'll be like, so what's the story? I don't know what the story is because they don't tell you. Go online, watch Vadividya, best content creator for story and lore around Dark Souls From Software games. And it's really intriguing. I was playing Bloodborne, there's barely any story that they give to you, but I was spending hours watching people explain exactly what was going on. And I was really enjoying it, so great start to it. That was my introduction to From Software. And from there, I didn't dip into anything except for Elden Ring. Once I heard Elden Ring was coming out, that was kind of what my focus was on. I wasn't going to get a Dark Souls. I had other games to play as well. Might go back and play them, but I don't see the need now that Elden Ring's out.
Yeah, I don't think I'll go back. I think I'll go back and play Bloodborne, just because I've got it and it's free. I can't... Because what I've heard about the other Demon Souls games, and I think I was in the same camp as you, I'd watched a lot of YouTube clips of people playing it or Twitch streams of people playing like the Dark Souls games and stuff like that, and Sekiro. And from what I understand about those games and what I've seen they're very linear experiences, and it's a lot of... You have to do a lot of fights. You have to continuously beat a lot of enemies and a lot of fights to keep progressing the game, and if you die... then you've got to go all the way back to the start and slog through again. And I think that would frustrate me to no end. And I remember on this podcast, actually, when we saw the Elden Ring trailer during, it was either Game Awards or E3. I think it was Game Awards. I was just completely just like, yeah, whatever. Like, this is not for me. It looks cool and whatever. But yeah, this is probably not going to be for me. And even when I saw the 10 out of 10 reviews coming out from all the game publications, I was like, yeah, look, that's great. This game's not for me. I would put myself in the camp of I'm not very good at games. I love playing games. I'm not very good at them, with the exception of like, I don't know, I'm pretty good at Hearthstone, and I put like 150 hours into Slay the Spire, so I think I'm relatively good at that game. But yeah, with the exception of card games, I never considered myself...
No action games.
Yeah, I would have said I don't have the reflexes for it. I probably still don't have the reflexes for it, but yeah, by pure happenstance, I purchased Elden Ring on Friday. I installed it. I sent you a message saying like, hey, I got this game, and you were hella excited.
I'm so excited.
And the first night, I put some time in, and it started to click with me. I was like vibing a little bit. I went the astrologer, so a mage build, which is like easy mode.
Took my advice. Yep.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I did. And yeah, I was vibing with it a little bit, but it wasn't until the Saturday, so the next night, that that it fully clicked into me, because I
You felt
like,
the juice.
Yeah, a few spoilers for Elden Ring. By this point, everyone's fucking played it, and if they're not going to play it, they don't care about it. I'd come up with against the Tree Sentinel, the first big boss that is clearly too hard for you to beat at the start, and the idea is to go around him. I'd come across him and was like, well, this guy fucking sucks. I'm never going to beat him. And then I leveled up for a bit and killed a few little things. And then I saw the dragon, and I was like, oh, maybe I could fight the dragon that's in the first little area. The first massive area. And I was like, well, no, I'm not going to fight the dragon. I'm nowhere near being able to kill this. And then I came across one of the, I think they're called Everflows or something like that. The little optional bosses that you activate in the little circle, and it transports you to
You found an Everjail.
Everjail, one of those.
Yeah.
I found one of those with Bloodhound Knight.
The Bloodhound Knight.
Yeah, Dwevel or something like that. And I was like, and he just minced me instantly. But I think at that point of the night, I'd been playing for like 2 hours, and I was just frustrated because I couldn't beat anything. So I just said to myself, I was like, look, I'm not going to bed until I've killed this guy. Like, I'm just not going to bed till I've killed this guy. And then I reckon I died probably 100 times, maybe even probably like 150 to this guy. To the point where, like, I closed my eyes and I could just see the "you died" sign across my eyes. Like, that's all I could see.
And that's
like,
that shink noise when you die.
Oh, so fucking annoying. And I was just like, I was getting nowhere, and I was like, I knew his movement pattern. I knew all his little, all his signs of what move he was going to do next. So I just brute forced my way into the point where I knew what he was going to do, and then I just fucking chipped away. I mean, chipped away at damage. It was like a minute of dodging for 2 hits, a minute of dodging for 2 hits, and it was like that. And yeah, man, after like 2.5 hours maybe, I finally like beat him. And when I say I was happy, I mean, I like jumped up off the lounge. I threw my PS5 controller to the other side of the room, just like tossed it onto the lounge on the other side of the room, and was doing like the Leighton Hewitt, like, just come on, no. And then I was like, I was so tired. I was like, I got to go to bed. So I turned it off and laid down, and I could not wipe the smile off my face.
Yes,
I was fucking ecstatic. And yeah, man, since then it's clicked. And last night I had a big night on the game, but yeah.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that, because that is the magic of From Software games and Soulsborne games. That exact moment, that experience you had, is exactly what these games are about. That's why they're so fucking popular, and why the people that play them fucking play them, is because it's literally one of the only franchises that can physically affect your body. You are so doped up on adrenaline that the endorphins are coming, the dopamine's coming out, you're sweating your ass off, you've been fighting this guy for hours, and then you fucking beat him. And then it's literally just the euphoria just bursts out of you when you beat these bosses.
Oh, and the physical toll it was taking, like, on me, like, my hands were, like, physically sore and crampy. Like, the way I had to, like, because, like, yeah, I have to dodge a lot of his attacks, because at that point I didn't have a shield that was blocked 100% physical.
Yeah.
I still had the starting shield, so, like, it just blocked fucking no damage.
Yeah.
So I had to dodge roll away from basically all of his attacks. I couldn't physically block any of his attacks. So my thumb was constantly jamming the joystick away from him in different directions. So, like, my thumb was so sore because there was just so much pressure all the time, just constantly moving away.
And you're so wound up that you're really squeezing.
Oh, like, everything was tense. Like, my whole body was tense. And, like, I get it. And I've always seen the From Software games, and I've always read stuff about the From Software games, and there's always been that discussion around them being like, well, why isn't there an easy mode? Why isn't there an easy mode so I can experience these games and, go into this rich lore of these games? And I was always in the strong camp of like, yeah, there should be an easy mode. Make these games more accessible to everyone. I'd love to be able to play these games. If they ever put an easy mode in any of these fucking games, I'm going to burn From Software to the ground.
Yeah.
How fucking dare they?
And everyone feels
Putting
exactly the same when they get it, they get it. And like I said, so that's why it's consistently a favorite for a lot of people. Is because the people complaining about it haven't taken the time to really give it a go.
And that's the thing. It took hours for me to get it. Hours. And they weren't fun hours. I wasn't having fun in those hours. I was fucking angry.
You hate everything until you get that enemy filled or enemy defeated or until that pops up, like you're hating life. But when that finally pops up, it is just one of the best feelings ever. And the people, that those people haven't taken the time because it's literally a biohack that From Software has figured out.
Oh, it's nuts.
You cannot help but feel the way you feel those positive emotions after you've put in. It's literally rewarding, quite literally rewarding the effort that you've put in. You feel like you accomplished something, and unlike the rest of the game where all the mobs respawn, those bosses don't respawn. So you fucking beat them.
Oh, they're gone forever.
You've proper beat them, and that gives it a real sense of satisfaction.
Yeah, it's quite amazing. And I think I would have experienced similar things in a Dark Souls or Bloodborne or stuff like that. I probably would have got a similar rush, but everything around this, not only is that, aspect of the game, the really tough, grindy boss kind of battles where it's just really tooth and nail fighting. Not only is that great, but everything else in Elden Ring it's incredible, man. This game is ridiculous. The scope of it is insane. The fact that nothing is explained to you, nothing is explained to you.
You have to read everything and really try to interpret everything that's said. Really, if you want to get the most out of this game, you've got to explore literally. You've got to have to comb the map with a fine tooth.
That is so rewarding because this world is gorgeous. Mm-hmm. It is phenomenal. And I had one of those really good moments of just pure natural kind of exploration of a game that I don't think I've ever experienced ever, maybe. I think the last time a game gave me this kind of explorational feel was in the first 20 minutes of No Man's Sky the first time I played that, followed by 4 hours of boredom and tedium. But I had a moment last night or the night before, maybe Tuesday, where I was playing and I was in this particular part of the map and I could just hear howling. And I was like, there's a wolf. A wolf pack around here, and I searched everywhere. I was like, oh man, I can't. There's no wolves here. Oh, it's weird. And then an hour later, I was back at the merchant because I had to buy something, and then I just saw a little text box down the bottom. It was ask about the howling in this part of the map. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. So I asked him, and the merchant explains to me that there was an NPC there who was standing on top of the church, which I couldn't see. And if I use this specific emote, he'll come down and he'll help me do a mission. Snap my fingers. And he turned out to be the NPC that would have helped me in that original fight with the Bloodhound Knight that I had so much trouble with. He was the summon that could have helped me. So if I had found him earlier, I probably would have had a bit easier time fighting that dude. That was just... it was just one of those moments.
That NPC also is carried through the story. He's a very special NPC. He's involved with multiple quest lines, but it was just you can never find him if you don't do that.
And it was so interesting because it was so natural. There was nothing handholdy about it. If I hadn't have gone back to that merchant at the start of the game because I wanted to see if he had one particular item, I was looking for a lantern. I think I was. I would never have found that, and it's I would have just missed that whole thing. And it's such a natural gameplay experience that I'm so used to games just fucking holding my hand, and I think
and spoon feeding you.
Oh, and now that I think about it, and now that I look back and I watched my wife play Horizon Forbidden West, that game is the most handholdy experience, I think, in modern games. Everything is literally spoon-fed to you. It's all so linear, even though it is an open world game. And looking at her overworld map, it's just dotted with these icons and mission objectives.
Yep.
It looks like a fucking to-do list where you look at the Elden Ring map and it's like...
Perfect way to put that to-do list.
Yeah. You look at the Elden Ring map and it's just like, yeah, explore, dickhead. Fucking go find something.
Yeah, like, it's really, like... obviously I played Bloodborne, yeah, and I had that experience, but Elden Ring being the first, like, the open world, really kind of tarnished my view of other open world RPG. You like that, yeah?
Yeah.
Where that exact thing, where you said it felt like a to-do list. It is a to-do list in these other games now, because now I'm realising, I'm just going from this dot to that dot to this dot to that dot, clearing the map as I go, going bang, 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 not appreciating anything in between, trying to do it as quick as I can. That's how I played all of the Assassin's Creed, or the last trilogy of the Assassin's Creed was literally, I'm going to start here and I'm just going to work my way across, sweep the map.
Oh yeah, I think Elden Ring has ruined Ubisoft games forever.
Yes.
I don't think I could ever play an Ubisoft game now. And I've seen this comparison a few times, but it's worth repeating for sure. Elden Ring is doing what Breath of the Wild did, 5-6 years ago. Yep. Where when Breath of the Wild came out, everyone was just like, "Oh yeah, this is how you do an open world game." There was no markers. You were just out exploring, creating a story as you go. Like, there is a narrative there, but everyone's experience of Breath of the Wild is slightly different to everyone else's, because everyone approaches things in a different way. They head in a different direction, and it's the same with Elden Ring. And it's quite funny that both these games come out a week after Horizon releases a game. It's like Horizon releases a game, and then like 5 days later, it's like, yeah, here's the next best game ever made. Like, fuck you, Horizon.
Just with that comment, with your experience, do you know how many hours you've got at the moment?
In Elden Ring?
Yeah.
I think I'm at 25-ish.
And are you seeing it as one of the best games ever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the best 25 hours I've ever... Well, discarding the first probably 3 or 2. It's the best.
Everyone's
it's
first
the best.
3 or... Yeah, the first 5 hours are fucking horrible.
Yeah, it's my favorite experience of gaming. It's one of the... It's the first time that I can think of in a long time where... Do you remember as a kid, you I don't know if this is just a me experience or if this is universal, but do you remember as a kid you'd play a video game so much? Like, for me, it was like Diablo 2 and Tetris. Like, I'd play those games so much that when I'd go to sleep at night, I would just dream about that game the whole night. It was all I dreamed about. I just dreamt about that all night. And for the last 5 or 6 days that I've had Elden Ring, every night that I've closed my eyes, I've just dreamt of Elden Ring. And when I get up in the morning, I have a coffee, I watch an Elden Ring video on YouTube.
Hell yes.
When I'm at work, I'm just talking about Elden Ring to fucking anyone who will listen. When I'm talking to you, I'm talking about, and it's just like, man, it's so... I think last night was a night that I'll actually think of when it comes to a gaming experience for a long time to come, because last night was a while.
Our chat between ourselves that last night, I was fucking losing my mind, because first you messaged me and you said you beat who'd you beat first?
Tree Sentinel.
Yeah, Tree Sentinel. Then fucking 10 minutes later, I got the dragon. And then I went and beat Margit. Oh,
it was just like...
I can't imagine how hard your dick was.
Oh man, because I watched this video. It was like an IGN video. It was like, the 10 bosses you should beat before you go face Margit. And I was watching the video and I was like, I defeated that one. I defeated that one. Oh, that one I got. Yeah, Pumpkinhead, he's dead. Oh yeah, no, I went down there and defeated the 2 demi-human chieftains, which, can I just say, demi-humans are a new fucking nightmare for me.
Yeah, very scary.
Terrifying. But yeah, I defeated everything on this list except for Tree Sentinel Dragon, and I was like, okay, well, man, I'm pretty good level. My gear's pretty good. I've put a bunch of stats into intelligence, so I'm dealing a bunch of damage, and I think I've got myself pretty confident with the controls of Torrent that I can, dodge some attacks, and I was like, yeah, maybe I can do this. And then I went in. I've got a really good summon, actually. I've got this Banished Knight summon, who's this big dude with a massive pole axe.
Oh, Banished Knight Oleg or something like that, right?
Yeah, he's super tanky,
bro.
Yeah, and he's really good at attracting aggro. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll give this a try. And the Tree Sentinel fucking mopped the floor with me for 5 or 6 attempts. But I could see that his health bar was getting pretty low, and I was, remembering his patterns, and I was like, I think I can do this. I actually think I can do this. And yeah, man, I just locked in. I fucking wiped the floor with the Tree Sentinel in one run. I've got a really good Flask of Wondrous Thing that negates the first hit. So I think as soon as you've got that bubble on you where you're guaranteed to negate the first hit, you get a bit more confident in the start of a battle. I just noticed that I was just doing heaps more damage at the start, and then even when I got hit, I wasn't staggered, so I didn't panic straight away, so I could get distance again. My summon could take the aggro, and I could get a few more hits in. And yeah, Tree Sentinel was dead, and I was like, fuck yeah. Okay, maybe I should do the dragon.
He is a difficult boss because
he's ridiculous.
Because he's the first one you see, and then you've already got this. It's kind of like an inflated image of what he is.
Yeah.
And then the first time you get him to half health, and you're like, oh, fuck, sick. But then he starts his second phase moves, and you're dead for the next 15 tries because you've got to get used to these new kind of tweaked moves.
Also, I think he's extra, not maybe extra hard, but as a magic user, as a mage, his ability to use his shield to redirect magic is so punishing.
And he doesn't just redirect it, he triples the strength of it.
Yeah, and I was just I was one-shotting myself. I was like, fucking hell.
Yep. I had that problem because I was mage too.
And also, I was telling you about this, but he does this attack where you're running beside him and you look like you've got plenty of room, and his pole axe is on the other side of him. So you're not worried about a swing attack, and he's running, and you're like, oh yeah, cool, I can get a hit in here. He can't get me, and then he stops instantly, drops his shoulder and shifts 3 meters across, and just fucking wipes you off Torrent.
Yeah, the horse sidesteps you real good.
And it's just where did that come from? And I could never guess when that was coming, so that fucked me up heaps. And
there's always, the bosses seem to have one move that's real fast, and it's designed to put it's littered throughout the game where these moves are designed to really upset your rhythm.
Oh yeah, and the Tree Sentinel in particular, I think they've done a good job of designing him as he seems to have a counter for every conceivable type of play. If you want to do, lots of Torrent running back and forth and just doing little chip damage, he always seems to be able to charge you and hit you. If you want to be super evasive and get a lot of distance, even with jumping with Torrent, his upward swing attack or his downward swing attack has crazy range. He's got the shield to block and redirect magic. So he's this beautiful, all-rounder boss, and it's such a satisfying win when you kill Tree Sentinel because he's been there from the start. He's the first thing he's technically the second thing that would have killed you, and he probably killed you 30 more times or 40 more times before you get him down. So yeah, killing the Tree Sentinel was huge. So yeah, I was on cloud 9 after I did the Tree Sentinel.
He's a massive checkpoint. Even for my playthrough, me going in and beating him was such a checkpoint for me. I don't want to... I'm going to... There's a bit minor spoiler, I suppose, but wait till you get to the Royal Capital.
I've seen a lot of stuff about the Royal Capital. The memes are plenty on Reddit on the r/Elden Ring.
man, you're walking up to the royal capital. You're going up this massive golden road. You're getting to the top, the crest of it. You're about to go through the walls. It looks beautiful. And standing there at the top, left and right, 2 more tree sentinels.
Fuck, man.
You see that, your balls drop, you start to cry a little bit.
Oh, no. Yeah, but yeah, after I finished the tree sentinel last night, I was like, oh, I should go check out the dragon, see if I'm up to the task. And I looked in my inventory, and I don't know when, but I picked up like 3 things that would help reduce fire damage. So I was like, oh man, if I just chuck on these, I should be, pretty good. And again, I've got my summon. Although I think a summon during the dragon fight's basically useless, especially the knight, because he's too slow to get to where the dragon lands. Like initially, he can deal a good bit of chip damage, but yeah, he can't keep up with the dragon. But I never tried another summon.
And then they get blasted with fire anyway and die.
Yeah, die. But yeah, I put on all my flame resistant stuff, and I just did the same approach. I was just super vigilant. I made sure. I finally figured out to craft fucking berries to heal Torrent, which was like such a game changer, because like I can't count the number of times Torrent died, and I was just like wasting a flask, a potion to get him back. But yeah, I crafted those. I was healing him up as I go, and yeah, I locked in, and it only took me like 4 or 5 attempts to get the dragon, and then I got the dragon. I was just like, man, I feel fucking unstoppable.
So impressive.
And at that point, I hadn't even gone to where Margit is. I knew roughly where he was, and I'd got the side of Grace just before him, and then I was like, yeah, I figured this is where Margit is. I've heard he's really tough. I'll come back later. So I hadn't seen him yet. I hadn't even gone up there. I had gone to Patches to get the Margit specific item. Did you know about that? The Margit shackle?
Yeah, the shackle. Yep.
Yeah, so I had that, so I was pretty well prepared, and I put my flask on to negate the first hit, and I was like, I've got this, man. I was feeling so confident. And then I got into Margit, and then just like died so many times. That dude, and I know people have said it all the time, but the jump of difficulty between everything else and Margit is ridiculous.
Yeah, he is the first. He's the first. Obviously, you can go around him, you can skip him, but you really shouldn't, because he's the first boss that is on that next level. The first boss that really, you're really gonna have to fucking knuckle down or come up with a super solid strategy by studying him as an enemy. I mean, the dragon has 5-6 different moves,
and the dragon's pretty easy once you've got a bit of fire resistance, and you get a little bit lucky in the RNG as to where he landed. I found a few times when I was fighting the dragon, he would land in just really inconvenient spots, and I was like, oh man, I can't get to you to deal any damage. So now I've just got to sit here and either get a shit ton of fire damage when you do your next attack, or just kind of wait around and maybe draw the aggro of a fucking giant crab that'll come out of nowhere and fuck me up.
Yeah, and those motherfuckers.
That happened twice, by the way. I was fighting the dragon, doing hell good, and then it was just like claw through the back.
Yeah.
Fucking giant crabs.
Those crabs suck because they sprint really quickly, and their karate chop is is directly at the end of the sprint. So they're basically just dashing at you for an attack. And you can't run away from them in a straight line, or else they will catch you.
You got to zigzag.
Yeah, exactly. Did you, when you were fighting the dragon, did you realize that when it flies up in the air and doesn't do the dragon breath but is going to dive bomb you, were you jumping off torrent, or were you trying to sprint away from it?
No, I had watched a video that showed that animations of getting on and off torrent, you had invincible animations where you couldn't be interrupted or take damage. So if you time it just right, I would get off him as soon as he got into the air, and if it was going to do a flame attack, I would get back on him straight away. But if it was going to do the dive bomb attack, I'd wait and then hop back on him when he was swooping down, so you avoid the damage of that.
Yeah. Big, like,
'Cause
anyone
it-
listening, if you want a tip with horseback riding, don't be afraid to get off torrent. Because
Use
in
them as a fucking
a
parkour
mounted-
platform.
Yes, exactly. In a mounted fight, it is actually a super viable strategy to use getting off and on him at the right times. It's so, like a couple of dragons later on, it's the only way I could beat them by getting on and off. At the right
It's
time.
such a useful tactic to just not take damage for a bit. That's the thing. Like I think I learnt a little bit later into the game than I wish I had is how like invincibility frames work with dive rolls and stuff like that. Because especially when you're fighting, there's a rune bear boss in a cave, and the cave itself,
He's a
like
bitch.
it's so tight, and at that point my strategy was I just roll away, roll backwards, roll to the side, get away. But in this cave, it was so tight and confined, and the rune bear's attacks are so wide and so quick in consection that even if you manage to miss the first one, you're not going to get a second dive roll in before another attack comes, and you get staggered, you take a bunch of damage. So then I learnt about rolling into attacks.
Yes,
Which
there
was
you
just
go.
like, it was just one of those things where I rolled into an attack and I was like, oh shit. Oh yeah, roll inwards. Like
Yep.
roll towards the attack. And it's like that thing where it's like, you almost have to, I almost had to fight my
Instinct.
brain being like, you don't jump into an attack. That's crazy talk. You always jump away. And then I was like, oh no, you jump into it. And it was that really, again, like one of those really cool moments in this game where I was like, fuck yeah, that's how you do it. And
Yes.
then I killed the rune bear like next try, and I was just like, "Oh, I'm fucking unstoppable."
Oh man, the roll into the enemy is like the difference between like those those videos where it's like pro player versus noob player. Like it's one of
Yeah.
those first key moments where realizing that no, don't retreat. Like roll, you literally have iframes, invincibility frames, and if you time them rolling in, not only are you evading the move, you're dodging combo attacks because a lot of the enemies, their combo attacks, they can't pivot. They don't have the attack tracking. They just do the combo. They'll do 3 swipes in one direction. So you're opening yourself up to an extra amount of time where you're in a safe position. The enemy's attacking the wrong direction. You've got free go at like back legs or something like that. Later on, there's some bosses where that is the only way you will beat them is by dodge rolling forward.
And just like, and I think that's the thing that I reckon is clicking with me the most when it comes to there's a lot of things clicking with me, but the idea that all the game mechanics and everything in the game, all the abilities that are at your hands and all the tools that are given to you, like the basic tools, riding on torrent, dodge rolling, all these things, all these basic tools are literally all you need to win the game.
Yep.
Like, yeah, equipment's good. Yeah, having the right loadout's good, and putting your stats in the right thing is good. But if you have, like, and it took me, like, well, I don't even think I've learned it all yet. But if you can start getting a grasp of, like, just the core mechanics of how these games work, understanding how a dodge roll works, understanding, how a guard break works, landing parries. Like, I have a shield that still has the parry ability on it, and even though I'm a mage and I don't like to get too close, when I do get close and I can land a parry, it's like my first orgasm, man. It's like fucking glorious. It's so beautiful.
It's
And
funny
just
the
like,
first moment that you sit there and you're like, okay, now I'm gonna teach myself the parry, and then you go find the easiest mob enemy you can find, and you die 5 times.
Oh, you just get minced. I was practicing. Me and you were actually on, and it's so funny to think about this. When I first was playing the game, and I'd just come into the land in betweens, and I was exploring, and that first little encounter you kind of had at the site of grace, where there's a encampment of soldiers, and you've got a site of grace right there, and there's the tunnel underneath the camp to get the whetstone knife. So you've got to get in there eventually. and I was on the group chat with you, like we were on a call over the PlayStation Network, and I was just like dying all the time, and I couldn't get it, and the game hadn't clicked yet, and I was like really frustrated at that point because I kept dying to these soldiers. I went back there to practice the parry because I was like, oh well, I know how many there are, I know what their attack patterns are. And when I went back there, like maybe 5 hours after that, 6 hours of gameplay, I fucking landed a few parries, but also just like wiped that camp out, like fucking deleted it off the map in minutes. And like, I'm so excited to get higher leveled and more strong so I can come back to areas that were challenging initially just to physically be able to see the level of strength you've risen to, what your, countless fucking runes and all this experience you've gathered and all the knowledge you've gathered has changed your character and the way you can play. And I'm so excited to come back to areas that I found really hard and just wipe the floor with everyone there. Like, that's fucking so exhilarating. And there's a small part of me that wishes I could redo some bosses now just to see the difference in strength of what I was then and what I am now. It's probably, if I was going to say there is a downside to this game, it was like you just can't replay certain bosses.
Unless you dabble into the multiplayer, but then it's kind of a little bit different.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I'm not going to do... I haven't done any multiplayer thing yet.
Don't see how far you can get through without doing it. Because I'm at a point now where there is definitely... most recently when I defeated the main boss of the Royal Capital, I really had to go hard on the multiplayer there to get that one done.
I didn't ask... so I'm like, 25 hours in. How many hours are you in?
84? Yeah.
Impressive. Impressive.
I mean, not to get too personal, but I did have COVID last week, so
yeah,
I had a little bit of time.
Yeah, I have limited time to play games, so I think it's like I'm impressed with myself with how much time I've put in like really 5 days.
I know exactly what your routine is like and what's on your plate, and it's super. Man, it was so. I was so happy when you started like messaging me. You were like, "Oh yeah, I got it," and I was like, "Cool." And we like behind the scenes when you told me you got it, I was like, "Oh fuck yeah, he's got it." Man, I really hope he puts in the effort with it because it's so rewarding. I was like,
yeah.
Probably won't. He'll probably play it a couple of hours and then have to worry about like life. And
oh man, I was 100% going into this game thinking that I was going to put maybe 5 hours into it, being like, yeah, I get the gist of it. I can see what's good about it, but it's not for me. Yeah. And man, it's fucking, it's got its hooks in deep, son.
I know you got it because everyone has to get to the point. There is, and you do get that point. There is not a single person playing this game that doesn't get to a point where they're like, "Oh, I understand all of it now. Like, I know why I put myself through this bullshit." Like, it seems masochistic at the start, and you're like, "Why am I even bothering with this?" But when you get that rush of beating that boss, you've spent an hour to like. It could even be less than an hour. It could be 15 minutes, but. You know what I mean? Like, once you get that reward, and it's a physical reward, like I said before.
It is.
Your body drops fucking dopamine on your ass like a motherfucker. Yeah, and you're just sitting there, your eyes are buzzing, like you're tingling, you're like sweating, you like throw your controller away, and you're just like, oh, get away from me, like let me just enjoy this bliss, which is beating that challenge.
I woke up smiling today. I went to work smiling today. Like, I drove the car smiling today. Like, I was just beaming. It took hours at work for someone to finally be able to fucking knock the happiness off my face. And, like...
Normally I was that just takes like, 5 minutes, but...
oh, yeah. Normally I'm fucking miserable by the time I pull out of the driveway. But, yeah, it was like, man, defeating Margit, the Dragon, and Tree Sentinel last night, like, I was beaming, man. I was so happy.
That's a huge night. That's a huge night. It was
such a good night. I was so tired by the time I got to bed. One of the aspects that are in this game that is, I'm going to say, one of my favorite gameplay elements I've experienced in a game, and I think it's in a few other games, like a few other From Software games, but in this game in particular, it's given me as much joy as defeating the bosses, and that's the message system.
How good is-
It's so good. So if you don't know, in Elden Ring and I think in Dark Souls and stuff, other players in the world can leave you little messages, and there's like I think there's a set words that you can put into a message. Like you can't just type whatever you want. You can only
There's
put in so many.
templates. Yep.
Yeah, set templates. Yeah.
So you got to be
can put these
clever with
messages
what you
everywhere.
write.
Man, some people are so good, and like 99% of the time, or 90% of the time, they're like really useful and helpful hints. Like I was in this dungeon, and it was like one of the early kind of dungeons, like a catacomb you're in, and there was this trap that was spewing fire at me, and you had to time it to get into like a little nook, and I time it to get into this little nook. And there was a message as soon as I got there, and I clicked the message, and it was like skeleton first. And then I was like, "What?" And then I just see a skeleton, like literally just like come out of the distance, and I was like, "Okay, skeleton first." And I turned around and I killed the skeleton. And it was like, man, it was like one of those moments. I was like, "Yeah, thank you, man! Like that was awesome." And I've had like so many more of those where like I've been in a room or I've been just like riding through the fucking land in betweens, and I'll be like, oh, there's a message in the middle of the fucking earth here. What's this? And I'll click the message and it'll be like treasure chest down below, and it's like, what are they talking about? And you're like, you look around for a little bit, and then like you see, oh, there's a little dip there. Oh, there's a treasure chest there. I would never have found that if it wasn't for these messages. And like, I love them so much, and they're like, some of them are so funny. Like, just seeing a bunch of bloodstains on a cliff and then a message that just says no jumping, and it's just like, oh my god, that's...
And everyone's
so great. Everyone jumps.
There's been a couple moments where you'll get a message, and really intricate message, and you kind of just like, oh, that's very cryptic. Like, I wonder what it means, and you'll like go just a little bit further forward. And then you'll see something and you'll be like, oh, then it clicks, and it was either a really good joke, or it was a really good piece of advice, or, someone making fun of you or something like that. I drop messages all the time, and my screen's constantly flashing like, oh, message of praise. I
haven't dropped a message yet. I've got to drop one. I've got to...
Oh, the easiest way to do it is... treasure chests throughout the world. Just put item ahead, or something similar like that, because there are a lot of chests that are actually traps and will take you places. And later in the game, you can be a bit hesitant to open a chest if you're not in a safe, or you haven't got a checkpoint or something like that.
Yeah.
Other times there'll be a side path that literally leads to nowhere. So I'll at the start of the path I'll say like item ahead. And then at the end of the path, I'll just write like regret here.
One of the best ones I found is there's do you know where you get I think it's the green turtle talisman. It's a talisman you can get really early on that boosts your stamina recovery, and it's in this little like dungeon bit under some ruins in Limgrave somewhere, and going down the stairs, there's this message right before you go in, and it's like, beware of horde, danger ahead. And I was like, man, fuck yeah,
look
okay.
left or careful right.
Yeah, it was just like, beware of horde, danger ahead. So I was like, rightio. I took my flask, I made sure I couldn't take any damage. I got all my equipment ready, I made sure I was all good, and I walk in there, and I immediately hit the, hit lock on enemy button, just to lock on an enemy.
Phil, I've ruined my right stick.
Yeah, jam.
Now I just play the game just slapping R3, because I'm like, there's so many things you cannot see that are going to kill you unless you're locked. And the saving grace of that function is that it will find hidden enemies as well. So
yeah, and as soon as I pressed it, like it locked onto an enemy really close, and I was like, oh shit! So I just like start throwing out the magic slash attack that goes really wide and can hit a few enemies. And I just see enemies everywhere, and I just see health bars, and I'm like, oh my god. So I just start spamming this, and I do it for like a minute until I've used all my FP up and everything's dead. And I was like, man, that was crazy. There was so many things in here. And then I turn my torch on, and they were just innocent turtles that didn't
Oh, you
need
killed
to
a
die.
heap of turtles.
I killed. There's like 15 of them in this room, and I killed them all because I thought I didn't have my torch on me. I didn't have my lanterns. I was just like, you cunt.
Yeah.
I was so expecting so many enemies. So it was one of the only messages I've rated bad. Because I was just like, you fucking asshole. I fucking killed a room full of turtles for nothing.
He dropped that message. This is the beauty of it. He dropped that message with complete knowledge of what he was doing. An absolute agent of chaos.
What I wanted to talk, because we've already been going for like nearly an hour, which is crazy. What I wanted to talk to you about is something that I've never experienced in a game before, or maybe I have, but not to this extent, is that I'm feeling, I've felt a lot of time playing this, that I need to do everything I can for every NPC. I need to complete all these quests. I need to do all these things because I know that if I progress the game and I don't do them, I'll just miss them. And I don't want to miss anything in this game. Are you experiencing the same thing?
Yes, in a way, but I'm aware enough of their series and what's actually been going on with the game that just quite like if you want to do everything, you've probably already ruined a few quest lines. You've probably already killed a few people that shouldn't have been killed. Like the amazing thing that FromSoft, like they don't hold your hand and they won't stop you from killing a critical fucking NPC. You can kill anybody in the overworld. You can't kill anyone in the round table, which is the headquarters, because obviously there's no attacking. But you can really fuck up a run by attacking someone that you shouldn't. Yeah, but you do get that. You do get that sense. Like not only that. Before the major patch, you couldn't see where NPCs were on the map either. Now they've added it, which I was a little bit surprised by, but it has helped a lot. But yeah, you're constantly looking and you're just like, oh, there could be a person anywhere at any time. And they're not in obvious spots. Some of the major, Blade, the howling wolf guy, like you'd never find him if you didn't go to the merchant. You didn't ask him about what to do, and also you didn't do the emote, which is this finger snap. You never find him, and that guy's attached. I mean, you might see him a little bit later on at one specific moment. I'm not sure if he will not show up at that point if you don't meet him beforehand. But he's attached to what is considered the true ending of the game. And most people, and the majority of players will play this all the way through to the finish and not get what they call like the good ending or the best ending.
Also, like the witch that gives you the summon bell, like if you don't go back to that merchant at night, you just won't get the summon bell. You just won't get it.
Well, yeah, well, you won't get it for free. You
can buy it from the round table hold, but like,
but that doesn't happen till way later.
It took me 20 hours to get into the round table hold.
Yeah, exactly. You don't get to the round table until after the first legacy dungeon, which is the castle.
And like that, the amount I was using summons, like the amount summons hold your hand, and that's a point I want to talk about in a minute. But yeah, if I hadn't got that, the game would have been so much harder. And like, it's crazy for me it's crazy to think about that From Software are so confident, and they should be. They're so confident in their game design and they're so confident in their player base that they know that they don't need to hold anyone's hands.
Yeah.
They know that everything in the game that can happen and that is going to happen and that can be discovered and utilized, players will find, because they've made it so nothing is boring. There's no part...
People know it's a treasure hunt. This entire game is a massive treasure hunt for secrets, hidden things, Easter eggs. Like, it's a puzzle as well, because some like one of the major story quest lines can go wrong in so many places. or
wow.
can't progress if you don't do certain things. Like, it's literally a puzzle, and to solve the puzzle, and you can destroy the puzzle before you finish it.
That's crazy. That fills me with anxiety and nerves. But not to the point where I'm not gonna not to the point where I'm not gonna play it, because I think after about maybe 8 or 9 hours, maybe after I clocked about 10 hours, I made a decision that feels crazy, but I am going to, like, I'm going to try and finish the game as my character now, but I am going to restart as a new character, because I want to experience what this game is like without easy mode on. And I know there's not an easy mode in this game, but there really is. Magic and summonings make this an easy, like, is easy mode. Like, it really is.
Spamming spells is, yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, and everyone knows it. Like,
yeah.
There's a plethora of videos about how broken Magic really is. Obviously, there's builds you can make that actually break the game. For instance, like the first major patch nerfed the shit out of the Sword of Night and Flame, which at the time was the meta weapon. Everyone was running it because it broke the game, really. Even after they decreased like the damage of one of the abilities by like 50-60%, it's still a potent weapon. But now then people had to figure out what the next thing was. I ran mage until I could respec, and then I recently respec'd into a faith build, which is what the new meta is. Played it for a bit,
I've been
just
looking
because I wanted to.
I've been looking at a faith build too, because I've unlocked so many things that are required, like high levels of faith, and like especially the stuff you can get for killing a dragon and turning in the dragon heart.
Yeah.
The incantations, like some of those seem broken. So yeah, I'll probably do the same as you, as I'll respec into a faith build. But like the character archetypes at the start of the game, I'll try and list them all: hero, vagabond, bandit, samurai,
Prisoner,
astrologist, confessor. There's one more.
There's the wretch, and
wretch. That's it. That's it, isn't it?
Yeah, that might be it. Yeah.
Yeah, like they all seemed really interesting. Like I was genuinely torn, and I think for my second playthrough, I'm probably still gonna do a little bit of magic, so I probably won't go a straight warrior. Although the samurai seems really interesting, and I've been able to, like, through my playthrough now, I've been able to pick up a pretty large assortment of really cool sounding arrows and stuff like that. So I really want to see what a game is like with that.
Well, you won't even need to, but that's the beauty. You don't need to wait until your new game, or you don't need to start a fresh one at all. Because you go into New Game Plus, you can respec before you run into it.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, man, it's just it's crazy to think that I think this is going to be the game I'm going to be playing for the next little while. Like I was genuinely really excited for the new Borderlands game that comes out like on Friday. I think it comes out the 25th, so it'll probably be out a day or two after this episode gets released. A day or two before after this episode gets released. Sorry, I was really excited about that. That was going to be my next big game. I'm not purchasing that. I'm not playing that. There's no way I'm going to play a Borderlands game.
I've forgotten about Tina's Wonderland. Whatever.
Why would I want to play a Borderlands game? Like honestly, there's no reason for me to go in on any other game right now, because I would never find it as enjoyable as Elden Ring.
Oh yeah,
there's no way. Elden Ring is everything. Right now.
I've been playing like Cyberpunk since the PS5 launch and the major updates. And honestly, guys, they've done great with the game. It's a brilliant game to play right now. And I went and tried to play it, and I was just like, "Fuck, I'm not interested in this."
Oh man,
I need to go back to.
I haven't even been able to play like Hearthstone Battlegrounds, which is like a game I've been playing. Oh, like I don't know. I think I just clocked like 200 hours in Battlegrounds. Like, and that's not even Hearthstone. That's just one version of Hearthstone. That's just a game mode of Hearthstone. Like I've played fucking a phenomenal amount of Hearthstone. But yeah, I can't even boot into I can't even boot up the PC and turn it on, because I'm just like, no, why why would I play this when I could be playing Elden Ring?
Yep.
Like, why would I haven't even been watching that much anime. Like, I've just been like, yeah, why would I watch something when I can play Elden Ring?
That's huge.
Like, it's crazy, man.
Yeah, and
I'm
when
genuinely-
when I'm not playing it, I'm almost don't want to play anything. Like I've sat down and I'm like, I could probably give Elden Ring a little bit of a break. Well, this was last week when I had COVID, so I was playing. I was thrashing the game, and I found myself when I was like, I want something different. I just sit down and was like, but I don't think I want to play PlayStation actually, because if I'm playing PlayStation, I want to be playing Elden Ring.
Yeah, it's nuts, man.
I long
it's
for the game almost. Like I need more Elden Ring.
And just like consuming Elden Ring content, just like watching YouTube videos, like
Yes.
the amount of YouTube videos I've watched that it's like have basically just told me all the same things, but I'm just so engaged with everything that's happening with Elden Ring that I just can't seem to fucking drag myself away from it, and I don't want to. That's the thing. I don't want this to end. I just want to be obsessed with this game for as long as possible because there's just seemingly so much I have left in front of me, and like there's so much more that I'm going to experience. There's so many and more enemies I'm going to fight, so many more bosses I'm going to slay, so many more spells that I'm going to see, and all this stuff. I'm genuinely obsessed with it. Like it's all I've thought about since I bought it. And
obsession is definitely the right word. I feel the same. I just can't pull myself away from it. I'm literally in the middle of work. Every now and again, whenever I can, just pull out, watch a little bit of a video, pause it.
Oh yeah.
Start it up again. Like I'm getting notifications out the wazoo from YouTube for all different.
Oh, the amount of channels, amount of fucking Elden Ring channels I've subscribed to in the last week has ruined my algorithm forever, and I'm fucking all about it. It's all I want.
We might as well let's shout them out quickly for the guys listening if they want anyone. I would say
sure.
Vati Vidya. Try and spell that. I'm not going to teach it to you.
What's that?
Vati Vidya. He's the number one in my opinion because he doesn't release things. He doesn't like get on the bandwagon almost. Like he goes at his own pace with his releases. He's got a to die for voice. I really like Rage Gaming videos for the fact that they're really responsive to what's happening, and they seem to just. I think it's a few people on the channel because they just have so much content. They're releasing like 3 videos a day.
Wow, yeah.
So
I would shout out domestic gaming. They've had some really cool videos, a lot of like things you've missed, and a lot of just I don't know, just really good general kind of entry level stuff for Elden Ring, which helped me a lot in the first couple of hours when I was just like kind of a bit lost. Boomstick Gaming as well have some really good videos, and I think it might be a bit hacky to like IGN still, but man, IGN's still putting out fucking good content. Not good content, but it's
summarized
digestible content. It's good summarized content. So they've done some really cool stuff. We should probably wrap it up now.
Shout out Charlie as well. He's really gotten hard on this game. If you don't know who that is, he's huge on YouTube. But he's gotten really into this game, and he's actually a fantastic player as well. He's doing his entire first run, Phil, with no summons and no multiplayer at all, and he's just beaten every boss in the game.
Oh my god! I'll have to send me some links. I'll have to get onto that. But we should probably wrap it up there because, let's be honest, I want to go play Elden Ring. It's getting pretty late. Thank you so much for joining me, J-Ro. It's so good to have a fellow Tarnished here. If you enjoy what we do, please go leave a comment and rate and review the podcast. It helps out a lot. Get in touch with us. Let us know how your Elden Ring gameplay is going. Let us know what character you picked and what build you're going for. I'd be so interested to hear how the dorks are going with Elden Ring.
Reach out. We'll get on the multiplayer too with some people. Hell yeah.
Let's do it. You want to sign us off, big boy?
Alright guys, thanks for having me, Phil. As always, to everyone listening out there, really appreciate it. And keep it dorky, baby.